going to show you how I add fur to a cupcake. So I use a number 12 round. It's about 8mm across, and I use a number 2 round to make the little spines of fur. So first of all, take up your number 12, and I've got gooseberry green in here. So tighten up your bag, and I'm going to make a mound on the cupcake. So touch down with the tip on the cake, go quite near the end, squeeze out a good amount to make a base, and then slowly lift up. And then when you've got it to the height you want it to be, just stop squeezing and come off. My buttercream was quite soft here, so it's made a bit of a splodge. That doesn't matter. We're going to cover that up. So take your number 2 round, and we've got the same colour in here. You don't need very much, but just make sure your bag's nice and tight. And I like to start from the top. So I'm just touching the mound, making a little stroke upwards and coming off. Touch the mound, make a stroke upwards and come off. And as you're going round, you're coming lower and lower with where your starting point is, and the flick you make at the top covers up the last point of contact. So you can see I'm turning the cake, touching the mound and just making a stroke upwards. And if you give it a little flick at the top, you get all sorts of angles and a bit of a sharper edge. Just makes it look a little bit more realistic. And I do it like this because I like nice bushy fur. I love that Christmassy look. And you can make the mound as tall or as short as you want it to be. There's no rules. It's your cupcake. You make it look how you want it to look. If you love buttercream, make it really tall. This one's a little bit taller than I normally do, but it's a good one to show you how to get the effect. You can see it does take some time. I don't do too much fern if I'm going to do a large order, just because of the time it takes. And because the tip is so small, the round tip is so small, you want to make sure your buttercream is nice and soft. And then there's hardly any effort involved. It's just time consuming. But when you're finished and you get that final look of that Christmas fur, it's totally worth it. Now I get carried away round at the bottom here. And I like to make it as round as it needs to be so that it's coming to the edge of the cupcake case. That's it. One more in there. And there. That's how I put Christmas fur onto a cupcake.